Hi lovelies and welcome back to this channel. If you're new here, my name is Belinda's channel and here is Ballistic Gist. Don't forget to please subscribe to this channel, turn on notifications so that anytime I upload videos, you will be the first person to be notified. And to my returning subscribers, thank you so much for all the love and support. To those people that share my videos and leave commentaries and also educate, you guys are real MVP. Thank you so much for all the love and support. So guys, I came across this video on my For You page on TikTok and I thought to share with you guys where this, punk colored man decided to share the reason why he feel that, punk colored people are so miserable. Guys, I'm just gonna roll the clip as well as some other stitches I was able to put together. Please leave me your own thought in the comment section and let's dive into it.
Can we talk about how miserable white people are for a second? Like, you know that white people are miserable, right? Like, have you ever looked a white person in the eye, even if they're like a big mental health person? You just look deep down and you're like, brother, you are not happy at all. And truly, it breaks my heart. But one reason, I think, one of the main reasons that a lot of white people, a lot of us are really unhappy and miserable is because we lack internal congruence. Now, congruence is a concept we learned early in grad school to help people heal. And congruence is basically internal alignment. Values and actions are on the same page, right? Like we accept every part of ourselves. We feel peace, security in who we are, congruence. And no matter how hard you try, you can never find internal congruence if you're not congruent with the world around you. If you're not understanding what's real and seeing reality and affirming what's true. So like white people who deny patriarchy and capitalism's negative effect and oppression of the world and genocide that's happening around the world, like that's incongruent with reality. That is going to have an effect on us internally. Because to deny what's happening in real time, we have to deny certain parts of us, certain emotions, certain thoughts that come up. And the more we run for that, the more incongruent and separate we feel, the more dissonance that comes, the more miserable we are. And a lot of times we're not actually dealing with our own pain and our own reality because we're all suffering under capitalism and white supremacy. Like, it affects us different ways in intersectionality, but like it affects us white people too. You don't think a stormtrooper in the fucking Star Wars movies hates his life? You don't think he hates being bossed around all the time? You don't think poor white people living in the empire, like in a city walls, like in a Game of Thrones, like you don't think that they're miserable under it, even though they're not miserable the most? To be congruent inside, to not be miserable anymore, it takes accepting the realities of the world, seeing how those toxic systems affect us, and then moving to actually be congruent. Because deep down, humanity has goodness at its center. So yeah, white people, we're miserable because we're not congruent, because we're denying the realities of the world, and thus denying ourselves. Can we talk about how miserable white people are for a second? Like, you know that white people are miserable, right? Like, have you ever looked?
To a certain extent, I think that's why so many white people are adamant on being like the world's loudest advocates or activism people under the sun. Because then they can just try to not focus on how unhappy they are and instead try to make everyone else around them unhappy because, well, the world's shit anyway. And here's my thing with that, right? Full transparency, the world is shit. I can go on full fucking rants and tirades about how everything's racist to a degree, everyone's sexist to a degree, gender problems are a real thing, America's a fucking dumpster fire, but then so are other countries because we can't even settle on the idea of should we allow another country to shoot people, so that's, where we're at with life. For years and years, we've been fighting tooth and nail for a lot of these things, and a lot of white people in general are just now getting involved in these things. And that's why I've said we need to be more honest with ourselves about two major red flags in our lives, especially when it comes to things like content creation, influencers, activists, etc. Just as much as we talk about how people who say no politics are dangerous, people who make their entire fucking personality into activism are also dangerous. Because I can tell you with conviction, the biggest people that I ban from the wine cellar on a regular basis are supposedly well-meaning, but not really, white people who come in and they want to lecture everyone and their mom about how atrocious the world is, as though we do not have front row seats to that son bitch. And I love that he brought up even things like mental health people and whatnot, because those be some of the worst motherfucking cases. People who are just like, I'm a mental health advocate, I want to make sure everyone can take care of their best them and blah, 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 blah. And they're in the back eating like 6 pounds of fudge on a daily basis saying, don't judge me for my eating habits, I'm still taking calories. And it's like, no, this isn't the time to be an activist. We are actually concerned because you need like more than just 6 pounds of fudge for your day. Yes, depression is real and anxiety is real and not being able to go to a therapist to get diagnosed is real. All those are very accurate things, but none of us need to be a therapist to know that you are literally tormenting your insides right now. Let's dial it back a little bit. But yeah, it's why I've stopped doing so much activism stuff my damn self, because like Obviously, I do it on here because it's easy to do and I can just talk about it. Okay, Drew makes jokes, but he has a point. It's easier for me to do a 3 to 10 minute video than to fucking write on Twitter for an hour. Jesus Christ, that was a horrible timeline. But I've just grown exhausted of the overwhelming number of white people who will come onto my posts and whatnot to prove with every fiber of their being how aware they are that the world is bad, how aware they are that things are terrible. And then what happens after that is that they inject themselves into it. And I can't decide if it's because it's kind of like an overstimulation thing. They just are amazed at how bad the world is, or if it's because they want to be the center of attention, because we also know that white people fight tooth and nail to find ways that they're oppressed. This is why, again, the main people I've banned from the wine cellar unmasked have been white people who, if they get told that their worldview is off even by like a millimeter, they have complete explosions and attacks on the entire community, and they are fast to remind you things about how they're autistic, they're ADHD, they're disabled, they're trans, oh, they're neurodivergent, and blah, 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 blah. Again, you're telling this to people who have front row seats to this shit. And I think it makes certain white people really angry when someone like me, who has been oppressed from like multiple different angles, like you have to remember, my grandmother was one of the first black people in America to vote. That is not something to be proud of. That is something to be terrified of, because that means that it's only 3 generations away that I've been capable of voting, and y'all will bully the fuck out of us to do so. So like, that's where I am, and that's like the background noise of my life. And I think it really bothers a lot of them that with that as my background noise in my life, with having to wrestle with gender stuff as I do on a regular basis, becoming a she, they, and really being happy about it, having to wrestle with a lot of transgressions, microaggressions, all of that stuff, and then having the nerve to find joy amongst all that really makes people angry. Like, they want you to be just pissed off all the time, and I refuse. I won't do it. I know why the world hates me, and I hate the world back. Every motherfucker who has a problem with me can step on goddamn logos and just swallow glass as far as I'm concerned. But trust when I say I'm still going to find happiness in this life. And that's a point blank period thing. I can fight for better and still be happy that I got my lashes done this week. And that makes a lot of them really angry because they want to be angry all the time.
I definitely understand where he's driving at. Like, this actually reminds me of a video of actually a pan-colored woman, and she was actually trying to like talk about what is happening around the world, especially what is happening in Gaza and all of that. She went ahead to talk about how, okay, why is it that these protesters are all over, in the US? Why is it that they are actually blocking her from, getting her favorite coffee? That if they want to, protest, even if they want to protest or whatsoever, they can find their way through, Gaza. They can go to Palestine and do whatever they want to do. Like, these are the kind of people that this man is talking about congruence. Like, she never believed that there is actually, genocide happening. They don't believe that. They don't believe that. They know it's happening. Like, genocide, rape and cis and all of that is happening all over the world. They know that all of this is existing, but they don't want to accept that it's really real. Like, they themselves, they might even be rape and cis, but they don't want to see that attitude of theirs to be rape and cis. So because of that, they become so bitter about themselves. They become so bitter about the world. They become so bitter about any other person that wants to actually correct them and want to make them to see the world, to see what is happening, to actually know what the truth is all about, instead of pretending as if everything is normalized. Like, sometimes when we talk about things like that, or maybe when black person decide to complain about what he or she is going through in the world or society of today, most of these particular people will just come and ask, like, why are you always complaining? I don't believe in rape and cis. It does not exist. Why are you talking about something that have existed long ago? That's something that was 400 back years ago. We don't believe that it exists. Why are you saying that there is rape and cis, but deep inside of you that the society have been built to actually, like the society have been built in the rape and cis and all of that. That is how the society have been built. But because of the internal congruence that you have, you don't want to believe that. I don't want to see you don't want to like accept the fact that this actually exists, and because there's something about accepting something. If you don't accept that this thing exists, there is no way you can actually make it go. A lot of people were like, okay, don't talk about race and all of that. We don't talk about it. If you don't talk about it, it does not exist. It does. If you don't talk about it, that is how it might actually escalate. But when you talk about it, you have to look into it, research more about it, and find out why X and Z, why all of this, and what are we going to do to actually correct all the narratives. But when you keep on lying to yourself, okay, I'm not racist, after all, I have black friends, that means you are lying to yourself, because inside of you, you know that there is one or two things that might have made you to become, racist to someone that you think that you are more superior about. But because you don't want to accept that you are this kind of person, you don't want to be judged, you don't want to be like, okay, I am this, I just want to accept it and know how to work towards being a better version or a better person. You decide to deny it. You decide to deny your internal congress. You decide to and this, make you very miserable and sad, because you feel that people are actually judging you for something that you do not know, but without realizing that you actually are, this kind of person, but just that you don't want to believe it, you don't want to accept it and work towards it. That is why when I saw this video and he talks about this internal congress, even in terms of any other thing apart from all of the things he mentioned in the video, this also affects our own life. It affects our day-to-day activities. For something to be corrected, for something to actually work on, let me just use an example. Like, some people might be in a relationship and they know quite well that this relationship is not working, but they don't want the world to see that it's not working. Then they keep on lying to themselves that the relationship is actually, is working, but deep inside them, they know it's not working, and that makes you to be so, miserable. And this thing also have to do with what we face today in the society. We face today, like, people often complain that, okay, oh my God, black people complains a lot and all of that, but you should know that these people have the reason why they complain. They cannot just keep on complaining. But you don't want to tell yourself the truth. You want to keep on lying to yourself that, oh my God, these people complain a lot. This is what he's talking about. The more you try to, tell yourself the truth, I think the more you find yourself at peace. Anyways, lovelies, why not just leave me your own thoughts in the comment section of what you think of this video. And do not forget that we do not support any form of bullying, harassment, or whatsoever. We're just here for educational purposes. So please share this video, subscribe to this channel if you're here to do that, and I will see you lovelies when I upload the next one.